What is your name, please?
My name is Marilyn Ross. My name is Ellen Randolph.
My name is Rose Williams.
Now, wait a minute, fellas. Let's try that again. What is your name, please?
My name is Janet Rossiter. My name is Rose Dana.
My name is Aaron Gilmer.
Actually, only one of these men is entitled to use all 6 of those names. His real name is Dan Ross, and he'll try to fool this panel consisting of Tom Poston, Peggy Cass, Orson Bean, and Kitty Carlisle on To Tell the Truth. To Tell the Truth is brought to you this evening by Anacin, a headache tablet to relieve pain, so relax tension, calm nerves. Anacin. And now, here's your host, Bud Collier.
Thank you very much. Welcome once again to Tell the Truth. Good evening, panel.
Good evening, Bud.
Ah, boy, that's what I live for. Open up that envelope, if you will, and follow along as I read from this first story. I, Dan Ross, gave up my lifetime career a little over 3 years ago and decided to make a living out of my hobby, writing. My success has astonished even me, for in the space of just 41 months, I have written 50 books which have been published in some 20 different countries. Under a variety of names, both male and female, I write all sorts of novels, Gothic romances, westerns, mysteries, and love stories. I also write an average of 2 short stories a month for newspapers, both here and in Europe. The shortest time I have ever taken to turn out a book is 4 days. The longest, 3 weeks. My publishers have nicknamed me the Writing Factory. Signed, Dan Ross. Panel, these 3 gentlemen, as you heard, all claim to be Dan Ross, a mighty prolific writer. We'll start the questioning with Peggy Cass. Peggy?
Thank you, Bud. Mr. Ross, number 3, do you always write under girls' names?
Not always.
Number 2, do you write your love stories under girls' names?
Not necessarily, but most frequently.
Thank you. Number 1, it says here that you write Gothic tales. Could you tell me a Danish authoress who was well known for writing Gothic tales?
It's liable to be him.
Could you?
No, I couldn't offhand.
Number 2, there's an English mystery story writer who writes, he writes a million books under different names. One of them is John Creasy. One of his names. Do you know the name of his inspector at Scotland Yard?
Gee, I don't.
You just write them, you don't read them.
I read them, I don't remember them.
Number 3, who's your agent?
Orson Bean.
He'd make a good one. I have 2, actually, which is a conflict sometimes, but not in my case.
Number 3, you're using up my time on her question.
Robert E. Mills and Donald McCampbell.
Now, Orson Bean.
You play your cards right, you can really draw you out, number 3. Number 2, do you write those books with kind of lurid covers, the paperbacks like Hot Rod Grandmother and...
Oh, no.
No?
No, much more discreet.
Gray-haired Nymphette or any of those? None of those, huh?
Oh, bag.
Number 1, why do you write under the... I think I read something by Rose Williams, number 1. Why do you write under women's names all the time?
Well, my agent and the publisher thought it would sell better.
Yeah, and does it?
It does.
Good.
Kitty Carlisle.
Number 2, what did you do before you started being the writing factory?
I was in the travel business.
Number 3, had you always wanted to be a writer when you were a little boy?
I wanted to be, and then I forgot about it for a while and came back to it.
Thank you. Number 2, does the Baroness Blixen mean anything to you?
I don't know.
Baroness Blixen?
Yeah, who
Nope.
also wrote Gothic tales. Number 1, what is a Gothic romance?
Gothic romance is usually set in a period of 19th century, and it has to do with a love and romance where the people really never meet each other.
Thank you. Number 3, where do you get your plots from?
Well, this is a rather difficult question to answer. Plots come to us in so many different ways, I suppose.
Tom Poston.
But number 3, so many. I have trouble thinking of one plot alone. One. Number 3, what was your lifetime career before you became a writer?
I was an actor for a while.
You were an actor for?
Right.
Well, number 1, what was your lifetime career? It says you gave up a lifetime career to...
Yes, I was an international representative of various trade unions.
Oh, is that so? Number 2, do you use longhand when you write your stories?
No, I use a typewriter.
Thank you. Number 3, how do you write your stories?
I use a typewriter.
Almost have to at that speed, I guess.
That's it. Time for you now to make speed with marking your ballots. So mark them at once, if you will, panel, without any consultation, of course, and without changing your vote once you have marked it. Vote now for number 1, number 2, or number 3. And our team of challengers will receive $250 for each and every incorrect vote. Are all ballots marked? Very well. Tom, for whom did you vote?
Well, after I had marked mine, I heard somebody in the audience yell 3. I'm inclined to agree. For one reason, he didn't hesitate to mention his agent's name, and it might be a good idea for a guy to get a little plug there for his reps.
Peggy Cat.
Well, I voted for number 3. He's so jolly. He used to be an actor, and he's a nitwit. He doesn't know where his plots come from. I voted for
Orson Bean.
Number 3 is jolly. He should have his own show. And 2 has a fine look about him. But I find that writers tend to be strange, brooding, taciturn fellows, locked in a garret somewhere, having the lunch left outside the door. So I voted for number 1. I think that's...
What?
I'm prolific. I'm prolific.
Oh, that was awesome. Many ones.
I turn them out like that.
Hey, Carlisle.
Under a million names, too.
I voted for number 2 because I figured that number 2 is so busy he has time to get a sunburn as well. And number 1 didn't know who Isaac Deason was, who wrote the Gothic tales, and it could be number 3, but I voted for number 1.
For number 2, you.
I mean number 2.
Very well. The votes are in and the minds are made up after a fashion. Now, let's find out which one of these 3 gentlemen, in truth, is Dan Ross. Will the real Dan Ross please stand up? Really very exciting. You've been doing this for how many years now?
Well, I've been writing novels since 42. Early in 42. I wrote my first novel in April of 42 and sold it. It appeared in September of that year.
Boy, other authors should have that luck.
62. I always say 42.
62. I figured you must have been 62 instead of 42. Number 1, what is your real name and what do you really do?
I'm Bill Gandil, and I work for Paramount Pictures, and I can't plug a picture here, unfortunately.
And number 2, what is your name and what did you do?
My name is Gerry Gazelle, and I'm Assistant Vice President of American Export Isbranson Steamship Lines.
Taking the story, we find you all did well. There were 2 incorrect votes that you deluded them into casting, and that means twice $250 for a total of $500, gentlemen. Thank you very much. If you had as good a time as the money indicates, then I know it's been a nice evening. Goodbye, and God bless you. I don't dare say it again. Very well, now let's meet our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Hymie Bravo. My name is Hymie Bravo.
My name is Hymie Bravo.
Follow along again, if you will, panel, with your copies. I, Hymie Bravo, am a bullfighter. When I decided to become a professional matador, I stowed away on a boat to Portugal and began fighting bulls as an amateur, both there and in Spain. In just 18 months, I made my professional debut as a matador, and since that time have faced hundreds of brave bulls in 4 different countries. Later this week, I will star in a series of bullfights right here in the United States. The fighting will be Portuguese style, some of it on horseback, and the bull will not be killed. The event will take place in the Houston, Texas Astrodome and will mark the first time in the 5,000-year-old history of bullfighting that a Fiesta Brava will be held in an indoor, air-conditioned bull ring. Signed, Hymie Bravo. Finally, these three gentlemen all claim to be, and you heard them claim to be, Hymie Bravo. We'll start the cross-examination with Tom Poston.
I'm
Tom?
very curious about one thing. I just read about that today. Number 3, please, do they use picks in the bullfights that you will participate in?
No, they will not.
Number 2, do you have to worry about the bull lowering his head when you fight on horseback?
I don't.
What protects the horse, number 2, from the bull's charges? What keeps the horse from being killed when the bull...
He has a kind of very heavy material in both sides. Leather, very heavy leather.
Number 1, is that on the horse you will be riding?
No, I go to fight on foot.
Oh, you're going to fight on foot besides. Oh, I didn't know that. Number 2, you're going to fight on foot?
Yes, on foot.
And you don't have any protection at all except
No.
speed and
Just
iron nerve.
intelligence.
Huh? Number 3, what is the tradition for the Matador's costume, and how do they differ? I see you're wearing one that's not the one we're familiar with seeing. That one, we're not used to seeing that kind on Matadors.
Se traje corto, for tientas.
See.
Peggy Cat.
Thank you. Number 2, in which bull ring was Manolete killed?
Manolete?
Yes,
Was in Pamplona.
thank you. Number 2, in what part of Spain are the bulls of Maria from?
Maria from?
Yes,
Muria.
Muria. I'm not so good in Spanish. Where?
From Muria.
Thank you. Number 1, what's the highest honor that the Matador can get from the crowd? The most things that you can get from the bull.
I'm sorry, beautiful señorita, but I don't speak slower.
Oh, I'm sorry, I talk fast.
I tell her that
What
all
is,
the time.
shush, I want to ask my question. Now, what is the most honor that the Matador can get? You know, like a hoof, how many hoofs and ears and things?
How many years has the bull, too?
Yeah, 4 feet and a tail. Now,
Orson
number
B.
3,
I'm
I don't know for this.
Hymie's gone.
And that's only the beginning. Number 3, do you ever fight in the Spanish style other than the Portuguese?
Oh, yes.
Yes, do
Always
you?
in the Spanish style.
Have you had what you would consider great moments in the ring where the bull was killed very quickly?
I have had beautiful moments.
Yes?
Yes.
Congratulations. It's a great thing when it's right. Number 2, has the crowd ever yelled, "Get a gun" at you? One time I saw, in Madrid, I saw a poor young fella that couldn't dispatch the poor beast, and the crowd began chanting, "Get a gun." It was awful. Have you ever had that happen to you?
Well, we have trouble sometimes when the bull doesn't run against me very
Yeah.
soon. You know,
Yeah.
he makes mistakes.
Yeah,
His hair.
Yeah. I knew it was his fault.
Kitty Carlisle.
Number 1, who is El Cordovan?
Number 1?
Number 1.
Number 1.
¿Qué dice? What is it?
El Cordovan?
Who was...
Oh, el cordobés?
Yes.
Who is cordobés?
Yeah.
It's a bullfighter.
Number 2, who is...
He's got 2 ears.
Number one, when you fight in the Portuguese manner, are the bull's horns blunted? Are they shaved off? Are they still pointy?
Shave?
Shaved, the bull's horns, in Portuguese
In
style.
other words, are they blunted so that you are protected when you...
Oh, yes, we protect always.
Uh-huh. The bull's horns are not pointy,
Not sharp.
not sharp.
Oh, no, they cut the horn.
They cut in Portuguese style, I see. Number 2, when do you get the ears and the tail?
Sorry, say again?
When do you get the ears and the tail?
When you make a very good faena.
And who decides?
Depends on how many bulls. That's all the time we have. It is time for you now to mark your ballots, so please mark them at once, without change, and mark them by ear if you want to. No consultation. Just simply vote now for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Are all ballots marked? All right, Tom, for whom did you vote?
I voted for number 1, Bud. I thought that he parried our questions with the agility of a true matador, and I wish him great success in Houston.
Peggy Cass.
Well, I thought number 1 was putting me on. And number 2, Manolete was killed, I think, at Cordoba. So I voted for number 3.
And Orson.
They're all very good, and I was really going to vote for number 1, except that he said that the bull's horns are blunted in the Portuguese style. I was just in Portugal, and they told me, a busboy in a hotel, what does he know? That they're sharp. Who was lying? I don't know. Anyway, number 3 pronounced his name Hymie, so I figured maybe it's him.
Oh, boy.
This crowd is crazier than we are tonight.
I must say, that number 3 is a lot of bull. Kitty Carlisle.
I voted for number 1 because any matador must know that the bull only has 2 ears.
Scientific reasoning, right.
Very well, the votes are in and the minds are made up solidly. And now let's find out which one of these 3 gentlemen, in truth, is Hymie Bravo. Will the real Hymie Bravo please stand up? Oh, my, that was really a great round. You yelling "Olé" reminded me of a bullfight that I went to in Mexico City one time. There was a couple sitting next to me. They hated the whole idea. And every time the crowd yelled "Olé," they said "Oy vey." It was a very funny experience. Number 2, what is your real name and what do you really do?
I am Luis Martin. I am a commercial photographer.
And number 3, what is your real name and what do you do?
Agustin Gregorio Mayor, an oil painter.
Taking the score, we find you two did well. There were 2 incorrect votes. That's twice $250 total, therefore $500, gentlemen. And our sincere thanks to you for a very exciting and fun round. Goodbye, and God bless you. And now let's meet our 3rd team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Brother Lawrence Cory.
My name is Brother Lawrence Cory.
My name is Brother Lawrence Cory.
Follow along once again, panel, with your copies. I, Brother Lawrence Cory, am a member of the Order of Christian Brothers. I also teach biology at St. Mary's College in California. My special interest is frogs. For days at a time, I leave my microscopes and test tubes and head up into the Sierra Nevada mountains. Once there, I put on mask, flippers, and snorkel and go skin diving. I am currently doing intensive research on the particular species of frogs who live at altitudes up to 12,000 feet in the icy lakes and streams of the high Sierras. Because of my activities, I have been referred to as Brother Frogman. Signed, Brother Lawrence Cory. Very well, these 3 gentlemen all claim to be Brother Lawrence Cory. We'll start with Kitty Carlisle. Kitty?
Thank you, Bud. Number 1, is your order the one that makes the wine?
Yes, it is.
Do you have anything to do with winemaking?
Personally, no.
Number 2, what's the difference between a frog and a toad?
A frog is a very smooth-skinned animal. Toad has warts, rough skin.
Is that all?
Well, they're the same amphibian class.
Thank you. Number 3, what makes a frog croak?
If you choke it too long.
They pass air across vocal cords.
They do have vocal cords?
Yes.
I'm getting out of here.
Tom Poston.
Thank you, Bud. Number 1, what do those frogs eat that high up in the Sierras and so forth?
Oh, they eat insects.
They have plenty of those up there, do they?
Oh, yes, they have some plant life they eat.
Thank you. Number 2, where is a frog's tongue attached? I've heard different stories about that.
In the mouth.
Did you see the last spot, number 2?
I beg pardon?
Did you see the last spot?
Yes, I did.
How many ears does a frog have? Now,
That's a
number
very
3,
good
where in
question.
the mouth would you say the frog's tongue is attached?
At the bottom, near the front of the mouth.
Is it different from... Oh, darn it.
Peggy Cass.
At number 2, are the 12,000 feet up frogs very different than the old swampy frogs we have down in the valley?
No, they're quite like the...
Well, then why do you go up 12,000 feet?
because I'm doing research on a special class of frog.
Oh, I see. Number 3, you always see in nature things, frogs go, look, and they get a fly. Have they got sticky stuff on the end of their tongues?
Yes, they do.
They do. Well, that answers that. Now, number 1, do you have edible frogs in California?
Oh, of course.
You mean they grow them right there in California? They have regular frogs that you can eat in California? You don't import them from another state?
No.
I see. Oh. Now, Mr.
Orson
Bell.
B.
Brother Lawrence, whoever you are, I dig your brandy. I just wanted you to know that. Number 3, what do you hope to learn from all of this hard work?
Well, I'm using the frogs to study the distribution of pesticides in the mountains.
Oh, number 1, is that your reason too? Number 1, is that what you hope to learn?
Well, I'm doing evolutionary diversification.
Then why those cold water frogs? Why not just your average?
Because this is where they're found, 12,000 feet.
And these are better suited for that study?
Yes, they are.
Number 3, I'm dying to ask you again. Are you with Rachel
That's
Carson?
all
on
the
this whole
time
thing?
we have, I'm sorry to say, so take your sticky tongues and mark your ballots, if you will. Mark them at once without change, without any consultation whatsoever. Vote now for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Ballots all marked? No, not yet. Now they are. Very well. Tom, for whom did you vote?
I voted for number 3 for several reasons. I thought that he took his job very seriously, and it is indeed a serious job, and I think it's very important to find out about the effect that pesticides have on frogs and humans, and I'm sure that's what it's for.
Peggy Cass.
Well, I voted for number 3. I have a lot of friends who went to Christian Brothers schools, and they're very strict, and 3 look the strictest to me.
Orson B.
3 look the strictest to me, too, so I voted for him. Warts.
Oh, warts. I beg your pardon. Kitty Carlisle.
I almost voted for evolutionary diversification, but I voted finally for pesticides.
Well, you made it number 3 all the way. That's unanimous, then. Let's see how that stacks up with the truth, shall we? As we learn now, which one of these gentlemen, in truth, is Brother Lawrence Cory? Will the real Brother Lawrence Cory please stand up? Yeah, you're a little smart on that last one. A little too smart on this last one. All right. How long have you been doing this research, sir?
Oh, 4 or 5 years.
And does it have a great deal more to do? And is this a special genus of frog that...
Yes, it is. Special species.
Is this large or small?
Relatively small.
Relatively small.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
How do you keep warm skin diving in those icy waters?
You don't?
You just get cold.
Is Rachel Carson right? Are we all in bad trouble because of the overextensive use of pesticides?
Oh, there have been too many polemics and too little knowledge on this subject.
So that's what you're trying to set straight. Good for you. Number 1, what is your real name and what do you really do?
My name is Carlisle Grasso. I teach art and design.
And number 2, what is your real name and what do you do, sir?
My name is Thomas Dunn, and I'm music director of the Festival Orchestra of New York.
Checking the score, we find the panel was a little too smart that time, and in that case, since there were no incorrect votes, there still is $150 coming your way, and our sincere thanks to you for being with us. Hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye, and God bless you. That's all we have time for tonight. You all win 2 ears and a tail. And good night to you, panel.
Good night, Bud.
Thereby hangs the... Good night to all of you. Don't forget to join us, of course, next week at the same time. I'll see you tomorrow with this panel on the daytime show. And in the meantime, don't forget to tell the truth. Bye.
To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.
A mysterious ghost suddenly appears and spreads havoc on the Robinsons' adopted planet in Lost in Space. Dr. Smith claims he knows who the ghost is, but does he really? Be watching this Wednesday evening.
To Tell the Truth has been brought to you by Dristan tablets for relief of colds, misery, sinus congestion. Dristan to help unclog congestion that fills your head with colds, misery. Johnny Olson speaking. Tonight's program was pre-recorded.